Hi guys, and welcome back to part 2. We're outdoors and I would like to show you my orchids here. And these are my mounts, and I do have my cattleyas, my dendrobiums, and a oncidium here in the crates because it gets windy up here. And here are my cattleya seedlings. And this whole area is getting sunlight from 9 till about 12 o'clock, so it's facing the southeast. I want to talk about all of these orchids, so it's going to be a very long video. So here you can see a close-up from the crates. I think it's ideal because they won't tip over. And let's start with this orchid. It's the Blc Copper Queen and it's the second time flowering for me. And as you can see, the flowers are absolutely gorgeous. There are some blotches and spottings on the flowers, but we had 35 degrees Celsius and some heavy rainfall. So I think that is the cause of it. I don't think it's a virus, but I absolutely adore this orchid, and I even have a third bud that will open within I think a few days. So I really can't wait to see it in full flower. And what else? The next orchid is right over here. It has a new growth. It's finished growing, but it has been a bit cut up. And let me show you the tag. Let's get it out. It's the Epicaleia Rene Marcus Flamethrower. Let me try to get it back. And so this is the newest growth, and you can see it's not really straight. It has been tucked between another orchid, and well, yeah, but I think it will be just doing fine. Now this orchid was recovering and it has now been recovered and it's looking really great. It even has a sheath right now. No signs of buds yet, but hopefully they will come. And let me try to give you the name. It is the Blc Alma Tipmeli. Let me try to focus. There we go. So Blc Almaki Tipmeli, and it is awarded with an AMAOS. And because it was recovering, I put it in a see-through container, and I really want to check up the roots once in a while. And well, so far I can tell the roots are really doing awesome. So here is the container, and you can see some old roots right here. You can see some branches, so that is really looking great. And if we turn the container around, you can see the new growth and some new roots going into the container. So yeah, it's looking really healthy. And so these are the green tips. They go through the media. So I will repot it in a opaque container very soon. So Alma Tipmeli. And the next one, that is quite a large orchid, and this one has a new growth and it's really big and sturdy, and yeah, it's looking really good. Let me give you the name. So this one is the Blc Taiwan Chief Wine, and I don't know if you know this orchid, but it's quite a classic orchid and it will produce big blousy flowers, and I believe they are purple. So I really hope it will flower for me, and it never flowered in my care yet. And the next one is this bright elbow green orchid, and it is looking really healthy. And this is my Lelia Cattleya. I'm not sure what type it is, but you can see it has a strong new growth just peeking out. And let me show you the tag. So it is it's Lelia purpurata var carnea. So absolutely gorgeous, and also never flowered for me in my care. And moving on, here is another quite large orchid. You can see it's getting really red. It's not sunburn, and I believe it's the maximum amount of light this one should be getting, but I keep my eye on it. When I see sunburn, I will move it into a more shadier place. But it's doing awesome, and I even have a seed, and there are no buds yet. Hopefully they will come, but as you can see from this side, the sheath is rather flat. And I forgot to say the name. The name is Blc King of Taiwan, and I believe it's supposed to be a bit reddish. So moving on, this little Cattleya right here also doing really great. It's quite small, but it produced a new growth over here. I hope you can see it. And it also produced a new growth right here. So it has two directions of growth, and I'm very pleased with that. Let me show you the name. It is Cattleya intermedia variety Oriata Rio. And what else? Oh yeah, this large Lelia over here. You can see it's really tall, and it is just looking absolutely fabulous. It is apple green, lime green, but it's not getting yellow yet. So I keep my eye on it. When it starts to get yellow, I will move it to a different location. But for now, I think it's okay. And there is a big new shoot coming out. Let me try to get it in frame. It is right here on the left. You can see right here. So that's a strong new growth. And yeah, I'm very pleased with this one. And yeah, so that is looking awesome. Now this one right here. This is my Ladia tenebrosa, and you can see behind the leaf there's a new shoot right there. And it's really hard to get it in frame, but down under are 3 new little shoots. So that is recovering or recovered. And this is my Blc Chief Sweet Orange, and it never flowered for me, but I do have this new growth right here, and I do have a seed. So I don't know if it will flower for me this year. I really hope so, because the flowers are really pretty. And well, it has some brown spotting, but those are the old growth, and here's one new growth. And as you can see, it's really looking healthy. And this big bush right here, it is my Dendrobium berryoda, and it is a bit dry, so it is shedding some leaves. I should water it, but it is getting a flower spike with some buds. It's the only flower spike right now. But yeah, there are a couple of new shoots, but it's really hard to film. But this is Dendrobium berryoda. And right here, I do have one in the house. And this is my RLC Francis Fox. And you can see the leaves are a bit yellow, but it is recovering. And there's a shoot right here. And here on the right, or now in the middle, is another shoot. And that one is creating some new roots. So I'm very pleased. And there is even a third one. Let me see if I can find it. Where was it? Oh yeah, it's right here. So 3 new growth and hopefully a lot of roots. And I think it will be just fine. So, and moving on, this gorgeous Cattleya. It's a bifoliate and really looking very healthy. Apple green leaves, and this is the newest growth. And I don't see any sheath, but that's okay. It should be a springtime bloomer, I think, so maybe the next growth will flower for me. And this one is just absolutely gorgeous. Let me show you the name. And here it is, Cattleya Dogged Ruby number 5, crossed with Lelia rosea. And it is gorgeous. This is the little, well, big sister. It's quite big, as you can tell. It's also bifoliate. This is a new growth. And I do have another new growth. It is right over here in the back. Yeah, right here. And yeah, it's quite huge. And I've been hunting for this cross and the previous one for quite some time, and I found it on Schroeter. And there is even a little sheath, but I really don't know if it will be flowering this year. And this is the name, Dogged Ruby number 5, but this one is crossed with Lelia anceps lineata. And it should be quite cold tolerant, and it will produce really long flower spikes, and it's just absolutely gorgeous. And moving on, what is this right here? Yeah, it's quite unruly in here, but this one is, carefully pulling the tag out. Oh yeah, this one is the final blue, and I just got it, I think, half a year ago. And it is also bifoliate. It's not really a big orchid or a tall one, but it's getting quite bushy. And I do have a new growth right here, and there is even a second growth right here. So I really don't know when it's going to flower, but we'll see. But it never flowered in my care. And the next one is this big unruly Cattleya. Let me get the tag out. So it's quite difficult to see, but it is the Lelia Cattleya Gold Digger Ogiglade Mandarin. And it should produce really gorgeous orange flowers. And it doesn't have a fragrance, but it never flowered for me. I think Miss Orchid Girl has one as well. And when I saw it on her video, I thought I need that one in my life as well. So yeah, it's looking really healthy. And it is also bifoliate, as you can tell right here. It's quite big. It's not really unruly. It's not that bad, but yeah, it's not the largest orchid. I think it's intermediate. And here's a new growth with a sheath. No signs of buds inside, but hopefully they will come. And here are the other growth, and really looking healthy and strong. So I'm very happy with this one. And well, talking about unruly, this one is really unruly. And here it is. So those leaves are quite long, but it's also right here, so it's kind of growing flat. So it's really difficult to place it inside. And let me show you the name. It is Blc Eve Marie Burnett Watermelon, and the flowers are really gorgeous. They look like a tropical sunset. So it's absolutely amazing, and unfortunately it never flowered for me. So, well, maybe this year. There are some new growths. One is right here in the center. And here's a new growth as well. Getting a lot of sunshine and no sheet yet. And there's a third new shoot right here. And this one has a sheath, but no signs of buds yet. But maybe I will have flowers this year, so fingers crossed. And moving on, here's a crate with orchids. Those are in lava rock, and I did it as for an experiment just to see how they will do in lava rock, and I have to say they are doing pretty good. So let's get you in closer, and let's start with this one. And this tiny seedling, it is a Cattleya fabaceae, and finally it produced a new growth that is mature right now, and that is this one right here. And let me try to zoom in. It is pushing out a new shoot. I don't know if you see that eye right there, but it has been swollen, so there's a new growth coming, and it is also pushing out some roots, so there's a new root pushing out into the leca. So it is a gorgeous Cattleya, but it will take some time before it is even blooming size. But yeah. And this one is the Cattleya genmanii, if I pronounce it correctly, and that's doing awesome. You can see a new strong growth, and it's really fat if you compare it with the other ones, and yeah, doing great. And over here, this sad looking orchid, this is a Dendrobium Phalaenopsis, and it only has one leaf, but it was a rescue, and I thought I'd just place it in lava rock, and I top dressed it with some sphagnum moss, and I just water it, and hopefully it will do something. And here is another experiment. It is the potted mound. I made a video about it. I will put the link in the screen. So this orchid is almost rootless, and I placed it in lava rock, and I top dressed it with sphagnum moss, and I really want to keep it. It is the RLC Toshi Aoki crossed with RLC Apricot Flare crossed with RLC Sunset Bay, and if you Google the flowers, they are just stunning. So I really want to save it from the brink of death. And well, the canes are still looking quite alright, and there's even an eye that might swell up, and that eye is right over here on this cane. And I read the sphagnum moss because it's quite warm, and let me show you just a peek. There you go, you see that? I've got some root tips, so I'm really pleased with that, and I hope the roots are growing through the moss into the lava rock, and then it will be just okay. And here is another, it is a no ID Cattleya or Cattleya type. It is also, of course, in lava. And yeah, it's looking really healthy. Canes are plump, leaves are looking good. Here is a growth. And here you can see the roots just growing into the the lava. And yeah, it's quite easy to care for. And I even do have some new root tips starting out from an old cane or pseudobulb. I don't know why. And let me swing you around. There's even another growth, and that is quite tall. That is this one. Really bright green. And yeah, you can see how tall that one is. And this one even has a sheath. But no signs of buds yet. But this orchid is really looking healthy. Up here is another Dendrobium Phalaenopsis, also a rescue project. And this one has some leaves. So this one is looking really better than the other one. And let me zoom in on that. You see that? That's a new growth. Right over here. So yeah, I'm very pleased with that. So this orchid will just do absolutely fine. And over here is one of my Dendrobium anosmum cakeys. And it's doing pretty good. It has a new growth starting right there in the center. And this one is in lava and let's see how it does in this media. And what else in here? No, next grade. Let's start with this huge orchid. And you might recognize it already. It is the sesquipedale crossroot tomorrow star. And I do have some leaf burning right here. I don't know how that happened. But for the rest, the plant seems really healthy. And it even has a little keiki in the back. And the roots are going into the leca. And here is another new root tip, also growing into the semi-hydro setup. So yeah, it's looking really healthy, and I can't wait for December to smell those gorgeous flowers again. And it's really easy to take care for actually, and it does great in semi-hydro. And the next one are actually two of the same orchids in one container, and those are RLC Golf Green Hairy Pig, and it should have really lovely white greenish flowers with a lot of how do you say it, fringles, but they are not really looking absolutely healthy. Here you see some dark red spotting. I do believe it's too much sun. It's not really sunburn. You can also see it on this part. I think it had too much sun in the beginning. But there is sign of progress. And I don't know if you can see it right over here, but one of the pseudobulbs is starting to root. So I'm very pleased with that. And here is the second orchid, and I don't see any new roots starting yet, but maybe that will come. Now, this sad looking Cattleya is my Cattleya ludomaniana, and you can tell some of the leaves are really looking dehydrated, and the pseudobulbs are really shriveled, and it's so sad. It's just such a large orchid, and I just placed it in semi-hydro, and it never did good. So the leaves are dehydrated. Some of them are looking quite okay, like this one. But to be honest, I gave up on this orchid, and yeah. Alright, moving on. This one here is my Dendrobium Phalaenopsis. This one is like a supermarket orchid, and it should look a bit like this, but then prettier. But this is what bugs and slugs do to your orchids, and you can see the damage on the leaves. But these orchids should be quite resilient and quite strong, so it will bounce back. And over here is my Brassavola Little Stars, and it produced 2 new shoots, as you can see right here. And there is a third pseudobulb, but I don't see a new shoot coming out of that one. But hopefully it will produce a new growth. And I don't know if this orchid should be getting a lot of light or less light than the other orchids, but it turned quite purple. And you can see it really good right here. I don't think it's damaged, but it's just getting a lot of sunlight, I guess, but nothing more than the other orchids right here. So I just let it be, I guess. And moving down here, this is one big orchid, and there's another one right here, and there's a Procyon Newtonia right here in the back, and I have 2 more right here. Now let's start with this one. This is a no ID Cattleya, and I have some new growth right over here. So that is really looking good. And the flowers are really gorgeous. They are pink spotted flowers, and they have a very pleasant smell. So that one is just doing awesome. And right here is my Cattleya Skinnerii. It has some severe hail damage, as you can see here on the leaves. And it's growing really nice. I do have a growth right here and another eye swelling up. And this one here in the back is quite a large Oncidium type. It is a Brassica crossed with a Miltonia, and it is growing very well, but it never flowered for me. It has a new growth right here, and there should be another growth somewhere in the back. I think, yeah, there it is. But it should produce really awesome flowers. But like I said, it never flowered for me, but maybe in time it will. And here is the complete full name. It is Brassica longissima crossed with Miltonia Goodale. And I also gave Inseschap a division, but maybe in time it will bloom. I really hope so. It sure does get plenty amount of sunlight, and you can see by the leaves they're bright. They are a bit sunburned, a bit yellow, but I don't think it should be a reason not to flower. But yeah, what to do. And the next orchid is quite a big orchid, but that has got to do with the several direction of growth it had in the past. But otherwise it is looking quite good. This is a new growth without a seed. It is a no ID Cattleya type, and it produces white flowers with a tiny blotch of yellow in the heart, and it's absolutely gorgeous. And it has been adapted to leca, to semi-hydro, quite well. And hopefully I will get a seed and some flowers. But maybe I might have to do a repot quite soon, because look at that. It's starting to outgrow the container. And I'm not really looking forward to repot this orchid. But yeah, otherwise it's really looking quite healthy. And last but not least, this beautiful orchid. It is not really a fast growing orchid, and it had some hail damage here on the leaves, but it is looking healthy and it is creating a new growth. And this is the Blc Birds of Paradise, and it just finished maturing the latest pseudobulb, but no sign of a seed yet. Well, and here is the name, Blc Birds of Paradise. And this is a quick overview for my patio, my mounts, and well, my cattleyas. And I do have some other orchids right here. I do have 3 Oncidium type orchids here. And I do have some Cattleya seedlings. They are right here. They get dappled sunlight, as you can see, and they are growing awesome. I do have some bromelias, and here are some. I will include the Cattleya seedlings in another update, part 3 or 4, and I also have my Vandas that will be included in another update video. So for now, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.